Are you ready for a third line day? We're in gate 15, which is, of course, the gate of extremes. And the third line is called ego inflation. Here in the third line, we have the confusion that comes in the self, where suddenly you see the appearance of ego. The confusion is between what is natural and comes to us choicelessly and what the ego claims as its own. This is the attempt to control extreme behavior in order to protect oneself. Third lines do not know that there is something else on the other end of the channel. They don't know that there is a 5 waiting there to lock it into a pattern. So, of course, they have to adapt. They have to learn what behavior is going to work. So they do not have to adapt to certain types if they keep to a certain kind of extreme behavior. This is how they can use their adaptation. This is what they learn. I will behave like this, and then I don't have to adapt to any of those sorts of people. So in the lifetime learning, we have the risks that modesty, once recognized, will self-destruct. When these lower trigram beings are with themselves and somebody sees them for the extreme that they are, they can bang into the other with their extreme behavior. And what they meet in response to that could be very intense. Bonds made and broken, perhaps. Certainly a new discovery. In the exaltation, where the otherwise negative, contrived modesty is here reinforced by recognition and maintained as an effective strategy. That's the extreme, the extremism, not easy word to say, the extremism as the self, as a strategy to control the flow. So what these people are trying to do is use their extreme rhythm to control other people. For example, somebody finds that it is very effective somehow for them to always be late, even though that is not necessarily natural for them to be late, but it becomes an effective strategy for them to use with other people to control the situation. And it's not always easy to be forgiving of this kind of extreme behavior. But the 15-3, they don't necessarily know that they're doing it. They don't necessarily even know that their behavior is that extreme. And it's not like they have a choice. And it's not like it's their fault. This is a 15-3 trait, using extremism in a negative way, rather than just living out their extreme. The extremism of the self as a strategy to control the flow. And what that means is that they are being conditioned away from their true extreme rhythm. And they are being conditioned to work with just one rhythm to protect themselves within their trial and error process. In the detriment, we have the I told you so mentality, the capacity of the self to point out the extremes of others. This is the extreme person who bangs into you in your extreme behavior and then tells you how extreme you are. It can be very clever. This is someone who really can see somebody else's extreme strategy, I guess you could call it. In the 10th gate, line 3, we have the martyr. So how does the martyr ground ego inflation? I could see someone living out the extremes, and self-destructing could be a martyr to themselves, maybe, a martyr to their behavior. I wonder if this could be the link. If you have this line or you have any insights around this, I would very much like to read your comments if you would like to share them. The moon is still in gate 26, but not for very much longer. It moves into gate 11 at 10:59. This is the Ajna gate of ideas of peace, a harmonic condition that permits assessment before renewed action. It's about exploring ideas that can be shared with and stimulate others. Since ideas come and go, this is a process that's really about reflection and about the possibility to conceptualize what has been experienced, what's been made sense of. The past is processed in order to make sense of it, assessing experiences based on what is remembered. And this can result in formulating ideals and beliefs and ultimately the formation of belief systems. It's a process that is here to inspire and serve others. You know, the head and ajna gates are always for others. They are outer authority. It can be very confusing if you start to use these gates for your own resolution of personal difficulties. And at 2102, we move into gate 10, the gate of the behavior of the self. We know about this one. This is our earth gate at the moment. The gate of developing self-love through accepting our uniqueness, having a natural sense of how to behave as ourselves, irrespective of our environment. Also having a keen sense of how others behave, you know, this which can lead to discomfort, really, if we are faced with behavior that we consider incorrect or offensive. And then we have gate 58, the final gate in this transit report at 6:59 tomorrow morning. This is the joyous, the gate of vitality. There can be a real zest for life here in this root center gate. Great joy and pleasure in just being alive in this world. There can be an appreciation for the beauty and the wonder of life, with the potential to fuel addressing imbalances, you know, to be able to make lasting contributions to the collective. This is a collective logical gate. Mercury is moving into gate 39 at 2046. This is root center, the gate of provocation. This is where we can become aware of the value of obstruction in provoking other people and using that as a way of analyzing situations, analyzing other people's responses or reactions to our provocation. You know, there's a pressure coming from the root to provoke other people to find out what the quality of their spirit is, whether we can resonate with them, and they can reflect back our feelings with a little sprinkle of spirit on the top. So this is the energy to look out for while Mercury transits through this gate. You could maybe bring some attention to what provokes you, if you would feel so inclined. Maybe where you provoke others intentionally or otherwise, where you notice the spirit of others shining out to reflect you back to yourself. This is our transit report for today. Thank you very much for watching, for listening, and until we meet again next time, go gently.